So in essence, empathy is the ability to identify what someone else is thinking or feeling and then to respond appropriately. So it's as close as we're going to get to mind reading, essentially. Empathy is actually made up of different components of psychology and physiology. So some researchers prefer the term empathic capacity. When it comes to leadership, as you know, there are a lot of ingredients in great leadership. The ability to motivate people, to negotiate conflict, to deliver effective feedback, to build relationships and build teams. And, there's one foundational skill that's essential to do all of those things brilliantly, and that's empathy. So leaders who get this right are the people who focus on people as well as results. I mean, in my view, empathy is really a superpower. So the people who run high on empathic capacity are the ones who really shine. If you look around, the rainmakers in any business aren't necessarily the best technicians. They're the ones who have technical competence and excellent people skills. So empathy is really the fundamental people skill. So if your business relies on interacting with other people, which most of them do, it gives you a huge advantage to understand other people, to deliver effective client service, to develop your team, to leverage diversity, all of these things. So, if you find a superstar in business, you found someone with bags of empathy. Yeah, I think it definitely is important right now. I think every one of us has had our own unique lockdown journey, and we're probably each of us in a different mental state compared to a year ago. So the pandemic has been, a shared global experience, but it's also had very different impacts on people depending on their personality, on their home life, on their working life, and lots of other factors. So what that means is that leaders need to exercise a much greater degree of empathy to understand what headspace a team member is in today and as a baseline, because both of those factors are going to impact their performance. So for me, empathy is also more important than ever because it does what data and statistics can't. We're relying more and more on data and algorithms, but you can't put those powerful tools to the best effects without understanding how people are going to respond to them. The best poker champions play the player, not just the odds. So empathy is one of the hottest topics in the sphere of social and affective neuroscience right now. I mean, empathy is obviously a very complex process, and actually it involves the sophisticated integration of at least 10 different regions of the brain. But one of the major breakthroughs in this area was the discovery of something called mirror neurons. So these are neurons which fire both when you yourself perform an action and when you see someone else performing the same action. And those types of neurons aren't just found in the motor cortex, the one that codes for action. They're found throughout the brain, including in the pain matrix and the emotion processing system. So, for example, if I see your hand sort of spiked with a needle, my own pain network will be activated, just to a lesser degree. So I literally feel your pain to an extent. Similarly, if I see you smiling, the activity of mirror neurons makes the muscles in my face that control my smile sort of contract very, very quickly to mimic the emotion that I'm seeing. And that physical reaction kind of signals the same emotion to me. So I feel what you're feeling. So that's kind of really the neural basis of empathy. It also in part explains why giggles are contagious and why we're influenced by the mood of the people around us. And for me, that's one of the most valuable things I think that we can learn from neuroscience on empathy. It's really a reminder that empathy isn't one way. Just as the best leaders are able to read their teams, they should also be aware that their team is going to be reading them too and reacting to them, consciously or not. This makes leaders superconductors of emotions. So the emotion that a leader kind of telegraphs will influence the way their team will feel. So when it comes to empathic capacity, all human beings are not created equal. Some of us are wired to be more sensitive to others' feelings and perspectives than others. And the population tends to fall on the familiar bell curve, with most of us somewhere in the middle. More recently, neuroscientists have actually found that there's a spectrum of empathy in the brain, where people who score higher in empathy tests show more activity in the mirror neuron system that we were just talking about. The good news, though, is that however much we have, we can develop our empathic capacity with targeted practice. The key is knowing where and on what to focus your attention, and then to do so regularly.